Welcome to the Senior Podcast Show. My name is Kori Lehr. I am the Director of Communications with the Senior Companies. Welcome back to another episode. Of course, I am joined by another very special guest, Bryan Faranso from Go Seniors Transportation. Welcome.
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. You bring an interesting component to seniors and their families. I think something that not a lot of people think about until they're like, wow, how do we get to go where we're going?
Yes, it's kind of a new business out there. It's been around for a while, but not too many people know that it exists. Yes. And they don't need to know that it exists until they reach a certain age level or if they need the transportation needs that one needs.
That's right. And so I'm so glad that you can be here today to teach me and our audience a little bit more about why these services are so important to seniors and their families. I do want to mention that you are a Senior Network member. Those are our preferred vendors that we send clients towards because we know that they are vetted and that they're trusted, that they're going to keep them safe and work with them and just give them a really good experience. So thank you for being a part of the Senior Network. Again, your company is Go Seniors, and we've talked a lot about senior-related industries from senior living to senior real estate specialist, home care, all these different things. But again, we've not talked about transportation, and it's so important because as we age, we have lots and lots of doctor's appointments, unfortunately. So I'm sure you're hip to all of that. Can you talk a little bit about how you got into the transportation industry?
Yes. So my background is logistics. So I have a trucking company that we started, me and my partner, in 2014. So this company was presented to me in 2018 by a nurse at the time who had it for his personal patients at his homes.
Okay.
And he started off with one vehicle. 3 months later, he had about 8 vehicles, and he realized that he couldn't handle the operations properly. And he wanted to serve his patients, his clients, his customers to the best of his ability. Mm-hmm. Knowing that he could not, he reached out to me because he knew that I was in transportation. And I did a 30-day analysis, and I said, let's give it a try. But the putting on the cake, I would say, is my wife actually took care of her grandpa who had Alzheimer's, and they never had transportation about 6 years ago. So I said, there's definitely a need for it, and probably more of it than I think.
Absolutely there is. And if a lot of the listeners, work in the senior industry, whether that's like you mentioned, like they're at home taking care of someone or they're at communities or facilities, like how do you get, if they have other needs, like mobility needs, how do you get them where they need to be?
We specialize in wheelchair transportation. Mm-hmm. We have almost 10 vehicles. We're working on the 10th one right now and adapting it to be feasible for a wheelchair. But we basically transport anybody, not just seniors, by the way.
Yep.
Not just seniors. We transported one of my buddies who was intoxicated. And it's kind of funny, we pulled up in a green van and he was kind of embarrassed, but kind of laughing at the same time.
It's better than the alternative.
So we specialize, like I said, with wheelchair transportation, with the senior demographics. And it's been working good. We've been growing for 4 years now, since the end of 2018. And right now we're basically just letting people know that we're out there, one patient at a time. We transport them to and from wherever they want to go. Doesn't have to necessarily be for doctor's appointments either. Yeah, that's what I was going to
ask you. Like, what other beyond? What else are people asking for rides to and from? Probably even Christmas. Like, hey, can I get a ride to my nephew's house or whatever?
Nephew's house, their children's houses, to the mall, to do their nails, to do their hair, to go out to dinner. Wherever anybody wants to go, practically, we take them.
I love that because I think that that's a really important service to mention. Like, it's way beyond. It's not just dialysis. It's not just to the cardiologist. Like, if you need to go get your nails done, us girls, we like to go and do
that. So it's funny, when we started, we originally had most of our patients go to dialysis and medical appointments. And then we started advertising that if they want to just go to the park. Rochester was a big vocal point for the Christmas lights this year.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they just want to go and see the lights. They don't have a way to get there. Their children or their niece or nephew, who usually takes them, got busy, and they call us up and say, hey, can we just take a stroll through downtown Rochester and see the lights?
That's awesome.
We'll get a lot of requests to the airport.
Yeah.
It kind of just depends on what somebody is looking for as far as where they're going and why they're going there. But you don't say no to.
I was gonna say, what type of place would you say no to?
We really don't. So they want to take a trip to Miami. If they want to pay for it, we can take them to Miami.
I mean, you never know, actually.
Yeah.
You'll never know what someone says when they call, that's for sure. What type of, I mean, obviously you're based here in Michigan, in the Birmingham, like Rochester area, like you mentioned, but for our listeners that are national, what are some of the questions that they should be asking companies who are similar to yours? Like if they're trying to vet them and figure out if it's safe and if it's a fit.
So the main thing in this type of industry, especially because it's a non-emergency medical transportation, make sure that whoever you're traveling with does carry the proper insurance and liability. God forbid, you're on the road, you are transporting in somebody else's vehicle with another person. Just make sure that they're covered for your sake. Transportation is a multi-trillion-dollar business in the nation, and there's 100,000 different ways to do to transport anything. But we are transporting an individual. We are transporting a human being. We're not transporting a luggage or anything of materialistic objects.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you're safe, you're covered for that 0.01% that something does occur that's catastrophic or tragic. And it's just a peace of mind when you get into a vehicle. Also make sure that you know the driver, who you're getting into the vehicle with. We're not some type of Uber or Lyft service. We provide a high quality service with highly trained drivers, been around the industry for over 10 years. We have 8 different drivers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what are the requirements of like drivers? So that's something else that they should ask. Like, obviously you mentioned liability and insurance. Like, should they say like, hey, what kind of training do your drivers have besides a driver's license?
Yeah. Most of our drivers are CPR accredited. We are not nurses in one way or another. At the end of the day, we're still a transportation company.
Yeah.
But I like them to have some type of
Emergency
experience
response.
to know what to do and what not to do in a situation. Believe it or not, we have over 9,500 customers as of this year. In the last 4 years, we've transported over 100,000 different rides, and knock on wood that there has never been an accident with a patient.
Thank goodness.
So our drivers are very trained, very experienced.
Yeah, that's great. I know that you said you're in the process of adding another vehicle to the fleet. So when you say that they are wheelchair accessible, and if someone was calling a company and said, hey, I'm in a wheelchair, I cannot get out of it, what questions should they ask?
First and foremost, if they need a caregiver, we will not take a patient that is required a caregiver or a helper.
Okay.
We lend a helping hand.
Obviously, you're going to secure
We're going to
them.
secure the patient. Yep. When they're in a wheelchair, we can help them get in and out of the wheelchair if need be. But the process, we're door-to-door service. We practically go to the door. They should already be in a wheelchair. If they're not, we help them get in their wheelchair. We wheel them up. There's a ramp or a lift in the vehicles. And basically there's 4 set points, which is ADA compliant.
Okay.
So we hook the wheels on there. There's a couple seat belts that go over the patient to secure them in there.
Perfect.
And make sure that the temperature is good. They're playing their rock and roll, their country music.
Oh, they get to control the music too?
Yep. We got a couple of hip customers. Want to play some R&B, some classical.
All right.
But we make sure that they're comfortable before the driver takes off.
Sure.
The nice thing about the software that we use is, let's just say that your mother or grandmother or father is going somewhere. You can basically track where we are from start to finish via text message or email.
You allow them that?
We allow them that.
That's amazing. That's a really good question that someone should ask, actually.
Is how does somebody know where I am and who I'm with?
That's right. That's big. Just like Apple Tracker.
Just like Apple Tracker. So from start to finish, they will know. It's well documented for other reasons than just the family. So that we know what our driver is doing and if he's going off track, and also
driving too fast.
They all have cameras on there. They all are GPS. These are the type of questions that a family member should ask, like, hey,
Yeah.
how do I know that everything's okay with, you know, my mother, my father, whoever the person is. We transport kids to school in the morning without their parents being there.
That's
So
amazing. And those are all really great safety features. So like asking about insurance, asking about, the safety with the wheelchair, asking, the fact that you can sort of track where they are and all those things, like that's a big deal.
the minute that phone rings or that email goes click, we know right from start to finish who booked the ride, who's going to handle the ride. All the questions are asked so that both parties know what's intended to happen.
Yeah, because for a lot of seniors, especially, being picked up by someone maybe the first time, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear involved, and I'm sure, like you said, you want to make sure that the service that you're hiring, if it is, national, if it's in Texas or something, like make sure they're labeled, right? Make sure that that there's branding on there on the van so that who's picking you up is the person you hired to pick you up.
It's funny that you say labeled. All our vans are this color green.
Can't miss it.
They are all wrapped. They are all the same. You cannot miss that color. And that was done for a couple reasons. It might not be the prettiest color, but it does get your attention. So we do have to stand by what we offer because we are very noticeable to almost everybody.
This is true.
And
helps to keep that accident rate down. It's hard to miss that color,
yes,
right?
It is.
I like that you mentioned too that you will take a caregiver. So, is there typically limits on how many people can go at a time? Obviously, with the modifications for wheelchairs and things of that nature, scooters or whatever, there is some space that's taken up by that. But
so we use mostly Dodge Caravans or Chrysler Pacificas, but we also have a couple Transits in which we can accommodate up to 4 separate passengers other than whoever is in a wheelchair. More times than not, we always ask to limit it to 2. I know post-COVID, it's getting a little bit easier to have more than one person in the vehicle. However, as far as for a wheelchair we are strictly a private company with one patient in the vehicle at all times. Plus, if they want to bring a caregiver or a family member wants to go with them. Yeah. But most of these vehicles are equipped to have one patient and one person traveling with them. We get some wedding requests, and we will bring the Transit. We'll have a party of 5, and we can accommodate.
Those must be really fun ones.
Oh, they are. They're pretty
especially
funny.
On the
they're
pickup.
Interesting on the pickup. Yes, they are. So no, it is. It's like I said, we are very private, and is one-on-one, door to door.
What I know we mentioned wheelchairs, but there are people who have larger electric powered wheelchairs and also some scooters. So can you accommodate those as well? 2
of my vehicles do accommodate the bariatric, I don't know if I'm saying it properly.
Bariatric,
bariatric wheelchairs or the larger individual. There is a lift on those vehicles, so we can accommodate, I believe it's up to 650 pounds.
And like a larger size chair.
A larger size chair.
Wheelchairs that are powered are big.
Yep. Nope, we can accommodate that. 2 vehicles are compliant for that.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Like we were saying earlier, I think many people are unaware that this type of service is available until something happens, until there's an injury, until they maybe give up their license, which a lot of people don't like to talk about. We don't like to talk about that because we equate that with losing our independence. But I think with a service like this, you can actually gain that back.
Correct.
Because you don't have to wait around for a family or a friend. You say, hey, I'm scheduling my hair appointment at 2:00. I'm going. I'm calling Brian and I'm going.
We had a few older ladies that had called our company to see if we would take them to do their hair. They became regular customers for the last 2 years. And it's hilarious when you get in the vehicle with them and they're asking how your hair is and you don't know what to say except laugh. And they're like, what's wrong? And you do get that where they feel that we are reliant for their needs and wants, and they don't have to bother anybody to get them to where they want to be. If they want to feel good and they want to do it privately, it's like I said, it is a good service to offer somebody of that nature where they don't have anybody to take them to something as simple as getting their hair done.
Right. They're
doing their nails or whatever the case is.
Right. Don't have mobility needs necessarily, but still want to go out and not be stuck in the house.
It is a feel-good job and a feel-good service when you see their reactions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it brings you to a spot where you didn't know you had in your heart, and honestly, it feels good.
It does. It feels good to help people.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
It's kind of a selfish thing, but it's
no,
unselfish
it
in a way.
isn't. That's what we teach people, though, right?
Yeah.
Like people are like, "Oh, I need." But sometimes when you help someone with their need, your cup gets filled up too.
Yep. No, it's fun. It's a good service to offer, and honestly, it works for both parties. The drivers love it. The patient loves it.
Oh, you get to meet some fun people.
And they got a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, and they talk about all of it. They don't hold back.
So you mentioned that there is about to be a 10th vehicle in your fleet. You mentioned a little bit about what the driver's training includes. I know you said CPR, super important. That can happen anytime. That could just happen to me right now. So I'm glad that you're trained.
Let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you're trained.
Joking.
I don't believe that at all.
Well, I'm not technically a driver, so I may be able to get away with it. But I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, Caitlin's back there like, yeah, no thanks, not me. You mentioned too, like obviously beyond doctor's appointments, you can take them to all different locations. But what is some of the like booking requirements? Like if I needed to go tomorrow, could you help me?
Yep. So basically with transportation, if you called within the hour, and we have 8 vehicles, like I said, 9 vehicles on the road around this area in Oakland County.
Yeah.
As of right now, until we grow, hopefully nationally. But basically, there's always going to be a driver that's going to be around the area. And if we can get you to where you need to be, we always have somebody that's on call, somebody that's going to be in the area. But booking is very simple. It's not as hard as people think. A lot of our patients / customers or their family members like to call and book ahead, which we recommend.
Oh yeah, of
because
course.
if the day gets full, then there is that chance that we will be delayed if you call the day before, or if we have to fit you in. But for the most part, we have not declined one ride since 2018.
That's amazing.
We've always worked around the logistical side of the aspect of the vehicles and the drivers and the patients and the radius. There's a lot that goes in it behind the scenes, but we figure it out for the patient. And part of that is we don't want to say no because we want to be very reliable for the next time that they do call. But we do ask to call 48 hours before so that we can guarantee your reservation. And for the most part, like I said, adding another vehicle helps me to be able to accommodate.
Oh, for sure.
We do a lot of discharges, and that's the main reason is because those calls come in and you can get 3 rides in 1 hour. Mm-hmm. And if I tell them no the first time, they're not going to think about Go Seniors.
They're going to call the next one.
So as far as providing the service whenever, wherever, however we can do it, I think we do a good job of accommodating the needs of the patient.
I think you brought up something interesting too. So you will help more than seniors. So if you work at a senior living community or at a doctor's office or another type of facility or community like that, they can also call you to help their clients as well.
Correct.
So because you work with medical facilities and things like that as their preferred provider.
We work with, I want to say it's almost 90 different facilities that include hospitals, rehab facilities, dialysis centers, retirement homes, senior citizen homes, and we work with about 8,000 different private paying customers.
Not busy at all.
Not busy at all. No.
Walk in the park.
It is a walk in the park. That's what she thinks.
Yeah. I do like that. I do like, and I think that it's really important that other people know that if they can call you and say, hey, can we work something out? I have passengers that I need, or I have discharges coming up from my skilled nursing community. Like they don't have rides. I need to get home. And
a lot of it is these facilities and rehab facilities have their own transportation. It's more or less
the senior community.
Correct. They provide it strictly to their patients for specific appointments.
Yes.
But if they just want to leave and go get a bite to eat or go to dinner, they recommend our company to take them wherever they want to go.
You get to come in and have dinner too, get your hair done.
One of my drivers went to a wedding 2 weeks ago. And they took him in and he had
all
dinner.
The time, right?
Yep,
I mean, it's this, know,
They build a relationship with the drivers, and
I want
honestly,
Jerry today.
I don't mind that because they feel comfortable and they get used to some of our drivers. And when they leave, sometimes, we lose a patient or a client because they like that driver, but we wheel them back in.
I'll say you're right. Terry's really nice too, right?
Yep. So it
funny.
works.
How would you people pay for this? Is this something that insurance can cover sometimes? Is it all private pay?
So we strictly deal with private paying customers and the facilities. Most of the facilities that we deal with cover the patient's expense, whether they're going through their insurance company. We try to stay out of the insurance aspect of it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Just takes up a lot of our time. We can't focus on the patient. We can't focus on the transportation side of it. But we're about 60-40 right now, where 60% of our business are private paying consumers. And that's kind of what my target market has become in the last 2 years, only because those are the type of people that don't know that this service exists for them. Sometimes it's very hard to get those customers because you got to put your information out there, spending a lot of marketing dollars on Google, spending a lot of advertisement on brands and branding the shirts and the vans. But usually our number one way of advertising is word of mouth. Most of our patients are referred to by somebody else that traveled with us.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully in a couple of years, I don't need to advertise as much as I have been to get us out there. But unfortunately, we still are a new company. Like I said, we're entering our 5th year.
I think it's good to work with a new company, though, because then you're trying your hardest. There's no complacency. Customer service is still at your number one.
And that's what we try to pride ourselves on. I believe the founder of Starbucks said it perfect. He said, we're not in the coffee business. We're in the people business. And I just feel like every company is in the people business because you are taking care of one another.
Yeah.
So,
and
in a way, that's for me personally, and I think you could say the same about you guys. Customer service should and always is number one, aside from everything else that comes with it.
Yeah, besides your insurance.
That's a whole other subject.
Just playing.
As far as cost, I believe you're asking about cost. So cost varies because it is transportation, depending on the time of day and the day of the week. Obviously, like I said, most of our rides are for medical appointments, which exist between 9 and 5. So you're looking at roughly between $25 and $35 a pickup, plus anywhere from $3 to $5 a mile, depending on the radius or the time of wait that the transporter will be there during the duration of the appointment.
I like that you brought that up because that was one of my questions too. Obviously, if I tell you, hey, I'm going to be here for 3 hours, they're not going to wait around for me.
Sometimes the patient wants us to wait around. There's a wait fee between $30 and $40 an hour.
Okay.
Like I said, depending on where the appointment is held. But more times than not, a typical medical appointment lasts anywhere between 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours. So we ask the patient, how long do you think your appointment's going to be? If you guys call us with updates, we'll have a driver there in a 15-minute window of whatever time you want us to be there. So we give a 15-minute window of pickup and drop off. So a perfect example would be, I have a dentist appointment at 10 o'clock and it's a half an hour from where you are. We'll pick up the patient between 9:15 and 9:30. We'll make sure that they're there 10 minutes before their appointment. And if they're done between 11 and 11:30, we'll make sure that we're there between 10:45 and 11:45. If they call with updates, we can be there exactly when they tell us, as long as they give us enough time. Okay. Like I said, our drivers
I'm done now.
You got about 15 to 20 minutes until we get there. But you'll be surprised how many people actually think that the minute they call and say, I'm done, they expect that vehicle to be there. So it is what it is, but that 15-minute window, I think, alleviates that stress of you waiting around. But the more updates, they can
contact you. I think that in itself alleviates a lot of that. Hey, I heard you. Yep, this is how I will be,
It is funny you say that. We do have someone on call from 8 to 6 that if you call that number, that phone is getting answered. And whatever you need, we do text. If the patient, if the driver, whoever wants to text instead of call, you can send an email. Basically, all forms of communication we can handle.
That's wonderful. Text just seems a little faster sometimes.
It does. You actually get a text message when the driver's on his way to pick you up. And you will get another text message when the driver is coming back to pick you up. So if you call and you say that my driver is not on the way, it's probably because the driver is not on his way. If he was on his way, you would get a text message that is stating the driver is on his way.
Okay, that's cool.
And because the vehicles are all GPS, if you call in and ask how far the driver is, dispatch will give you an exact mileage of where they are and how long we're anticipating to get there because of traffic.
Technology is crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy. It is.
It's amazing and scary at the same time.
Very true. Very true.
What so let's say that they were in a wheelchair and they were by themselves.
Yep.
Didn't necessarily need a caregiver. Do you guys take them to the door of the office, or just to, like, if it's in a large medical building, just to, like, the door of the building?
Door-to-door service. From the door of their room to the door of the room that they are going in.
That's nice.
So the driver gets out of the vehicle, doesn't just drop them off at the front door. Gets in there, she gets in there, go directly to where the appointment is.
Okay.
Directly where that chair is for them to do their hair, get their nails done.
Whatever
it is, however it is, we are door-to-door service.
And so on pickup too, do they just like put the emergencies on,
Yep,
run
they
into
park right
the
in. They're
fifth
not running.
floor
Then they can
and
hurt
390 office door 39 suite 396?
Yes,
and
yep. There should be an elevator.
That's
they
amazing.
are ADA compliant when they're in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
More buildings, they should have
Yeah,
elevator. If they're in a 5th level floor, we take them right to the suite, right to the doctor's office. Some of the questions that we have to ask the patient or whoever is calling for the patient is, where are they going? We take an extra step to call the doctor's office, let's just say, to ask them, how wide are your doors? So we know that the wheelchair will fit through the doors. We've had numerous incidents in the beginning when I first took over of the wrong size wheelchair, a nurse or a doctor's office telling us that the door is 29 inches when it was 28.5 and the wheelchair was 29. So now there's complications and it's taking up the doctor's time, the driver's time, the patient's time. So all these questions have to be asked and the proper answers have to be given to us in order to accommodate exactly what we're trying to accomplish.
I'll say those bariatric wheelchairs get to be wide, and that could be a problem.
Yes, it can. Most of our ramps are up to 36 inches wide. Most wheelchairs are anywhere from 28 to 32.
So even if you did your part right, you asked all the questions, but like you said, you get to where they're going, and then
what they told you
that's
isn't
beyond
the case.
your control.
Correct, but there's always ways to maneuver the situation.
Yeah.
But more times than not, these are the type of questions that we ask so we know how to accommodate the patient.
Yeah, that's so insightful. I mean, that just to me speaks volumes of how much your heart is in this.
We put everything that we have. Like I said, we're dealing with human beings. We're not dealing with objects. So, and
hey, even those can be tricky too.
We have our name behind it, and we stand very proud of what we offer. And the main reason is we are dealing with somebody's family member. I'm pretty sure that if somebody was dealing with your family member, you'd want them well taken care of.
Don't make me go Karen.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
I think the Karens of the world, hopefully they're bye-bye. We don't know. We don't know.
Hey, there's one in every bunch.
There is.
Thank you so much. You have provided us with so much information. I encourage our audience that if they have questions about transportation services, to give you a call and just ask away, because I mean, it sounds like you're so approachable, so outgoing. I mean, I really can tell how much you care, and I know that you will try to help your clients, to the best of your ability.
I appreciate it. I pride myself on helping people, and at the same time, having fun with it. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
Oh crap! We better wrap this up then. Just kidding. But sincerely, thank you so much for being here. I mean, I can tell you've made some incredible investments in your fleet. You continue to do so, continue to grow, and that's a testament again to your service that you're providing all of the seniors and beyond as well.
I appreciate that.
Again, we encourage our listeners to visit GoSeniorsTransportation.com. You can call them by phone at 248-929-9000. Love that phone number, easy to remember.
Last fun fact, when I purchased this company, my wedding was on 9/29. So
did you request this phone number, or is that a coincidence?
I did not request. It was a serendipitous coincidence, if that makes any sense.
Meant to be.
So
two things meant to be.
Yep.
That's really sweet. Also, I do want to mention too, before we wrap it up, you've won a couple of awards, and recently, just just within the past month you won.
We did. Yep. We were,
Best
I
in-
believe 2019 it was Rochester Hills and 2022 was Birmingham.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Thank you.
Someone's noticing.
Thank you. Yes, they are.
So congratulations on that. Again, another testament to your service.
Thank you.
Can you do the phone number one more time?
248-929-9000 and book me at GoSeniorsTransportation.com.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
If our listeners have questions on transportation or anything senior related, you can reach me at kl@theseniormovers.com or by phone at 586-204-8500. And we'll see you next time on the Senior Podcast Show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.